Whenever you're ready, sir.
My name's Kuser. Living for all my life. Be 91 in July. Now, 1922, when they had the big fire, that was on where the feed mill is. It's still Proctor's Mill and Carter's Mill was joined together. Had to go in there. Well, you imagine how long it was. 2 boxcars. There was pictures there. 2 boxcars don't take up the space of it. Just that long. That burnt on that side down to Water Street. 7 houses. Left 2 houses lying there on Happy Creek Road. It was all left. The fire jumped from there across the street.
Sorry, I was getting background sound. When did you first come to Main Street? Before the fire or afterward?
My aunt took me in when I was 9 years old. I stayed with her. She's the same as my mother. I left home, come over here. And
where did you come from before you got here when you were
Warren
9?
County.
Oh, okay.
Born out up here on Remount Road.
Okay. And you came to live with your aunt in town?
Mm-hmm.
Is that when you began working in the shoe store?
No, I worked for Mr. J.W. Bear, $3 a week.
What were you doing then?
We haul lumber, move people, haul everything. Went to the slaughterhouse, hauled beef to the butcher shops. Local haul, that was the thing.
And how old were you?
I was 11 years old.
So you didn't go to school then?
Yeah, I went to school a little bit.
Uh-huh.
I had to work so much. And I worked there for 4 or 5 years. $3 a week. And a fellow told me, my cousin told me, run the shoe shop. The man worked for us was going to quit. He wanted to know if I'd come up there and help him. I said, yeah.
What year was that you began working in the shoe shop?
26.
So that was after the fire.
Before the fire.
Okay.
You talking? You see, we had 2 big fires on Main Street. Which fire are you talking about?
Oh.
The first fire or the second fire?
Oh, I didn't know there were 2
A
fires.
third fire. Which one you want?
Oh, could you talk about both of them?
Well, the first fire, I had to figure out where I left off at. Oh, the mill burnt. And I got $3 a week working there. Drove a Model T truck. haul mail, express, move people, you name it, we just hauled everything. And I went up to, how was that? I went up to the bakery.
They had a bakery?
Yeah. And you go to work up there, I cleaned pans. They had brick ovens. The pole was, you put bread and rolled back on, I said 20 feet. What you do, fire the oven up with wood. After all the bricks get red hot and everything, you take and clean it out. And you have bread there, you put it in there, bake it, come out. And you go to work up there at 7 o'clock in the morning. Get off at 6. And Wednesday morning you go to work at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you get off at 6 at night, or 7. You had to work day and night to get stuff made. Work all night to get the bread and rolls out for the stores. They had hot dog rolls, biscuits, hamburger rolls, bread. Back in them days, wasn't no 10-cent bread. It's all 5-cent bread. 5-cent loaves of bread. Didn't come wrapped up, all loose all the time. And I stayed up there, I don't know, not too long. I stayed maybe a month and a half. Too much for me. I didn't like it. And my cousin pecked on the window when I was living Rose down the street to arrest him. Told me to stop by the shop. And he said the man that working for him gonna quit. I want to know if I come by. And he was help him out. He showed me what he could. Well, back then from $3 a week, I got $6 up to the bakery a week. He said he'd give me $9 if I come there. So I told him I'd be there the next morning, and I was. And I've been there ever since.
Yes, you, up until recently, you were working. Until you broke your hip, you were still coming into work.
I broke it right here in the living room. What happened? I had this light on. I sat here till bedtime. I get up, cut the dining room light on. They'd give me a light to my bedroom. I go and cut that on. And I come back, cut this off, in the dining room. And when I cut this off, I had those dizzy spells. That's when I fell and broke my hip here.
And how long ago was this? About a year ago, I think.
Oh.
Months ago.
Going on 4 months now.
Okay. Because you were working in the shop every day, still.
Oh yeah, I was up there with a broken hip trying to work. Biggs give me a stool to try to sit on. My son took me up to the hospital, x-rayed me. I said, it's just pain. X-ray didn't show anything. Brought me back home. I called him and told him, I said, I can't do nothing. It hurts so bad. He took me to Dr. Fibro. open like that.
So at the age of 91, you were still going to work every day
Yeah.
in the shoe shop. Now, you began there in 1926
Hmm.
at,
September 23rd.
so you were there before they built Avtex.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Could you talk a little bit about what the land was like where the factory now stands?
We're out there or here.
Out there, what it was
This
like.
is all. This here where I'm at was a cornfield, wheat, farmland. All this was.
What about at Avtex? Could you talk a little bit about what it was like in that area?
Well, the Avtex out there was that a fellow Groves owned all that land over there, and he farmed it and raised corn, watermelons, cantaloupes. We used to go out there and steal them, bring them to town and give them to people. We had a canoe. We'd go up the river, come around, get the watermelons, get the boat almost loaded up, and we come around, the people would just take it, get it out of the car and sit on the porch and go on the way. Nobody else would be watermelon and cantaloupes. Davis was the man had that farm for Avtex bought.
What was his name?
Davis,
Do you
he
remember?
owned that land.
Oh, so he was a farmer.
Mm-hmm.
Do you
Yeah.
remember his first name? It's all right. His last name was Davis.
Yeah.
And he sold the farm to the plant?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what he sold it for?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
He sold it. He was had pumps in the river. He pumped sand out and sold sand all the time. And that's where I met him, out there when we got watermelons out there in the field. We had this pump. He had one big pump up the river where the old mill race used to be. He pumped there for years. It takes pump and pump out here. They have a pile way high sitting there. They get it out of the river, and this people used it back in them days. Sold it.
So he had a sand and a farming operation.
Yeah.
What was the river like before Avtex came? Did you eat the fish? Was it clean?
Oh yes, indeed, it's clean. Yeah. Just clean water. See, that river out there come from Lou Ray. Lou Ray up there, nothing but a little stream, just like this creek down here. And it's come down, it gets bigger and bigger. Come on down to where the Vitco was at.
So Davis sold his farm. How long after he sold it did they begin building?
Started right away. This come here. Two men was on the train, NW train, so I was told, going around to locate places for this plant. See, they had two plants. They still got one in what's that plant's name up there on the other side of Stanton?
Near Lexington?
Just a few miles from Stanton back there. Stuart, we hadn't been up there to it. It's plant. Anyway, these people rode the train, locate the land, and they seen this farm out here when they come up on the NW train. See, the train used to run from Harrisonburg, Roanoke, to Hagerstown.
Here, I'll turn it off for a minute.
Two people traveling from train run from Hagerstown to Roanoke. That was NW. And they was out looking for a place to build a visco plant. And they come by and seen that land there where Dave was owned. And there's the one spotted for the visco company to build a plant there. And that's where it started from. They had they worked day and night on the building, getting it up.
What was the community reaction to the plant coming in?
Honey, that was the biggest trouble we had. People wouldn't believe it. When they come here to build that visco plant, people taking people in the rooms to sleep aboard. Now, one man had 6. Him and his wife slept in the living room on the couch and rent the rest of the house out to people. A lot of them, good many of them, slept in boxcars with blankets, sidetracked. You couldn't get a room no place. Nobody had the room because all that crowd come in here. Just filled the town up all at once. And the stores made a killing on those people. So which was that store? Sega store was on Main Street where Goldsmith got his place of business. He had 2 big storerooms there, joined together. One section for women, one for men. And when the visco come here, they made a killing on selling that stuff. Well, back then, they had shoes sitting out on the street. Compton down there had Boy Scout shoes. People don't remember that. 98 cents a pair. On a board sitting there. That's what's it. And let's see, what else was it? They started buying houses as they could afford it. The workers would go home over the weekend and come back. A lot of them stayed here. So that's far I can go on that.
I wonder how many workers there were at first.
Oh, I'd say 500. I'd make a just guess at it. It might have been more, might be a little less.
What did Main Street look like at that time? Could you talk a little bit about the different businesses that were on Main Street? Now this would have been, what, about 1938?
Let's see, Visco come here in 37, wasn't it?
Okay.
I was close to it, something like that.
Okay.
Well, Main Street just like it were. Now, Compton's building down where the pawn shop got, you know where that pawn shop right square?
Yes.
Well, used to be a porch upstairs, run from there all the way around. See the end of the building. The grand jury, Miss Cooley run the place there. She'd taken the jurors in till the trial was over. And they would sit on the porch up there during the day after trial, Sundays or something like that. And Next porch on the same side were right above Kibler's furniture store.
These were wooden porches?
Wooden porches with iron posts holding them up. It was Huffman building. Ed Huffman owned that building. He had a clothing store and a grocery store there. And they had this, I can't explain it to you. They had banisters around this great big hole in the floor so he couldn't fall down. You walk around up there and look down the store. That's where he lived up there. I knew the name of it, but I can't explain it to you. Oh, I said it's big around from here over that wall, I guess. Had banisters all the way around it. I was up there and looked down at people in the store down.
That's neat.
He had a good grade of clothes he sold. Back in them days, this expensive clothes. Of course, he had some stuff cheap, like everybody else. And they had the grocery store there.
So he had a grocery store, dry goods, clothes, everything.
He closed the grocery store up. He couldn't do much business with it. See, back in the days, I think we had 11 or 12 grocery stores on Main Street. And that's the reason he didn't do too much business. And Brian Stokes come in there and opened up a store. And what a business that man did have her.
Did he open it up after Avtex came in?
Oh yeah, he's opened up before that. Yeah.
Before Avtex came
Oh yeah.
So the businesses started booming at that time. When
Oh yeah, honey, you wouldn't think. Out here where the hospital at 1 o'clock, they had a Model T truck. You had the kerosene cans roped on the running boards. Had 2-gallon cans, 5-gallon cans. You take that and take it to the house, and the old woman said, "You can't put that here, you have to take it down. I don't want that all close to the house to get a smell up here. I have to take it down and pour it out of this can, put it in hers." Bring her can back.
So people used a lot of kerosene during those
Back
days.
then, I said, "What? Wasn't no electric stoves back in front of all that." I remember when first time I think I can remember J. China, some company put an electric stove in his window up there to demonstrate it. That was, I said, 1920. That was the first time I ever seen an electric stove. Of course, I didn't know nothing about what it was. They had sitting there in the display in the shop, in the window, so people go out and look at it. That's the first electric stove I seen.
When did electricity come into the town?
It's in that book.
Okay. That's okay.
They got it.
We can look it up later. So most people cooked with kerosene around 1920.
Wood and kerosene. Most of them was wood.
Oh.
Most of them was wood. And it's kerosene and electric later. Now they got gas.
So when Avtex came in, The two men from the railroad bought the farm from Davis. They started building immediately.
Yes.
500 people coming into town and being roomed and boarded by lots of local residents.
Pile them up. Didn't have no place to put them.
Were you working in the shoe shop at the time?
Yeah.
Did you notice any difference in the business?
Oh, yes, indeed. Yeah. Of course, they didn't make much money back in them days. See, we was putting rubber heels on, practically back in them days, for 25 cents a pair. Half soles, 50 cents and 75 for half soles, back in them days.
And you used rubber?
Leather. That's what you want. Back then, people didn't get wedges back in them days. It just got, a lot of them got 25, 30 cents an hour. I thinned corn out here where the radio station. I got 5 cents a day out there thinning corn. That field where the radio station sits.
You did?
My brother got 10 cents. They're taking 2 rolls of corn, and I was small. I had to take 1 roll. And I get way behind, and the man would come back. You have a broomstick sharpened. If you break it off, you got to spade the root out, see. And I tried to spade it. I was small. And he'd come around, he'd go this way, back and forth, checking to see what. You're supposed to leave 2 stalks in a row. When they drop the corn, they put 4 to 5 grains of corn in the heel. And you had to take out 2 or 3 of them and make 2 stalks. That's the way they had it. See, this corn planter tripped this wire and let so much corn out to a heel. I think it's 3 feet this way, 3 feet this way the road was. It may have been 4. I can't remember now. That's what.
So you helped plant corn where WFTR now stands. You helped plant corn where the WFTR radio station is. That's neat. How could you talk a little bit about once the factory was up and running, how the town changed then? I don't know if you, how was life different after the factory was in operation? How did it change the way of life here?
Stuff started going up, raised prices on everything, because money kept rolling in with the wages. See, where you're working for 15, 20 cents, this paying 25 and 30 cents out there. And that built the business up. And of course, well, they buy the stuff from a job, a wholesale house, found out how much stuff they're selling here in front row. They raised the price on them. They had to cut this price up too, see? That's the way it worked. Now you should get 12 cinnamon buns for 10 cents. Now look what you pay for 'em. Bananas, 5 cents, you get a dozen. Truck used to come in with a lantern hanging on them, go up Main Street. That's when they just had a little bit of lights on Main Street. And he had this truck, lanterns hanging there, and go along. Bananas, people run out there. I never forget, I bought a whole stock. I mean, a bunch of, on stock, I bought the whole thing for 75 cents.
Did the fruit come in on the train?
Everything come by freight back in them days. N&W Southern. That's where we had to unload that stuff and deliver to stores.
Now that the plant was built and the people came in to work, how did the town change then? Could you talk a little more about the number of people, the house building? How did the town grow when the plant was up and running?
It built slowly as it go. And it had quite a few houses. But the building, some for the plant ever come. Because I used to haul lumber around different places. And you take it, then this started building more because the town was growing and it didn't have places for them. And that's when the town started spreading out.
When they decided to close the plant, how did that affect the town and Main Street and the community after that happened?
A lot of people cried. And some said they was glad to see it go on account of odor. Now, we have to keep the doors shut, just like it's all the time on the Visco running track out there. And that acid would eat the streams up from it. When the wind blew, we would get that odor out here. You couldn't sleep at nights. Of course, it wasn't their fault. They built the chimney so high, so they'd take it over. And on a foggy day, it would drop, just like a fog. You couldn't hardly get down 6th Street to see where you're going. There'd be fog with that odor and that smoke from out there just going like that. You know, I see people pocket hands walking like that. Some people didn't mind it, but a lot of people suffered from it. It was an awful strong odor. Well, it's still got an odor out there yet while they're cleaning up. But that's what made Front Row big as it is right now. The Visco come here, made it like it is.
I heard that after the plant closed, that's when all the merchants started moving into the shopping center areas.
Yeah.
Why did that happen?
Well, one store went at the time. See, stores on Main Street used to stay open from 7 o'clock in the morning till 9, 10 o'clock at night. So, I don't like to put this on air. Jim Payne started this year closing up early. And that's what killed Main Street. And then went to shopping center, started building up a shopping center. He wanted the Main Street in the town for tourists only to travel so they can see. He didn't want nothing on the street. Used to be parking on both sides of the street. He got town council all of them one side. That split the town up. Business hurt, and started building up there. Now you see where Main Street business up in the shopping center now, where we used to have it down here on the street.
All in all, now that you've seen Avtex come and you've seen Avtex go, could you talk a little bit about what its merit was, what you thought it did for us, or could you just talk about...
It built the town up, how it was running. Now, after gone, the people who used to work there, men, women, honey, 3:30 cars go by my house going to cities to work. 3 o'clock in the morning, 3:30, I'm laying in my bed and they're going away and pick somebody up and go down. My son sat down on the porch, he goes to Warrington, his daughter. leaves there, go to work. He brings her, when her husband go away, she come in and stay up to the house for a week or two. He's a Secret Service man. He travels up the place. And he brings the child here. That's the reason he's there today. Yeah. And that's what built the town up. Visco built this town. And had it going good. Till Jim Payne wanted for a tourist town. That's all he believed in, tourists. To go by, go out to the caverns. I like the caverns. I've been out there several times. I enjoy it. Lou Ray, I like Lou Ray a whole lot better than do Front Row. It's nice, both of them are good, but I take my pick. I take Lou Ray at a time. That's what run to town. Shopping centers taking Main Street business. That's 12, 13 grocery stores on Main Street, side dry goods stores and restaurants. That's what's business at. Now they got it all up there in that place. You go up there and where you used to come here and get it, they got 2 or 3 stores up there got the same stuff they used to have down on Main Street. You can't buy nothing.
What do you think's going to happen to Main Street?
Honey, as far as I know, Main Street will never come back as long as the shopping center ain't in town. All towns have the same trouble. Look at Berryville, same thing. Winchester, Mall.
Even with the smell of Avtex, do you feel that it was a good thing that we had Avtex
Yes,
here?
yeah, I believed it. I liked it myself. I got used to the odor. At times it was so strong you just had to keep the door shut and all like that.
Did you ever worry about your health with that smell?
I thought about it a lot. A lot of people is still got the same trouble from out there. Quite a few around here yet living. Got what you call lung diseases from it. That's what they say. Some lady lived back over here. She worked and she got mixed up in it and went to a lawsuit over it. They gave her so much money. She bought a nice house. I've been out there since. She getting along right good. She has spells yet, but she's making out right good, I think. And a lot of them ain't, and some of them died. I don't know how many people got killed out there.
Could you talk a little bit about how you've noticed life change from the 1900s on up to now that we're in the year 2001? Could you talk a little bit about how people's lives are different?
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of difference in them. Much difference. I'd say much different as daylight and dark on most of them now. They ain't friendly like it used to be. Just go by and head up there like that. What's here? We don't have no. I don't know who's the oldest place of business on Main Street, shopping center anymore. I couldn't tell you that. There's nothing on Main Street. It's a tourist town. Main Street is. And what I told you years back, if you want to go out Main Street on Friday and Saturday, you walked out the road. Sidewalks was filled up with people. Everybody from the country come with wagons, brought the food, horses, feed. They stay from morning till dark, go back home. That's when Front Rows, Main Street had business back in them days.
And what year was that?
Well, I say would be run from 1919 on up to the 22, 23. Behind the jail up there, they used to have the county built a stable up there for them to put horses in out of the weather when they stay all day. And they had a section there for buggies. When the kids come to school, snow will be up here on the blanket. You could see the head. The horse's belly was dragging in the snow, coming out of John Morris by the radio station to come here. They put the horse up there in what they call a liver stable. They stayed there till school out of the weather, and they had to feed the horse and everything all day. You go back.
It's amazing. I know that you've been on Main Street for probably almost 75 years. You've been on Main Street now for 75 years doing the shoe business.
Yeah.
From your perspective of your shoe shop for the last 75 years, could you talk a little more about how the community has some of the changes that you've noticed?
Well, honey, the change has made when the United States let the standards down, let foreign countries come in with foreign goods, China, Japan, Taiwan, shoes, man-made plastic stuff by them. That killed the shoe business in Front Row, most every place else. We call it throwaway shoes. You pay $15 for a pair, wear them so many months, you throw them away and get another pair. I got a few customers come in up there, got expensive shoes, $100, $150. I had one pair was $300. And I had a pair of cowboy boots. I made the man take them out because I afraid the building catch on fire. He paid $1,500 for them. And he said, I don't want no scratches on them. I want them to look like just like this. And I said, I thank you for your business. Take them someplace else. I couldn't be responsible for something like that. Somebody break in there? I've been broke in up there 7 times.
You have?
Taking everything I had practically. Shoes, pocketbook, belts. I had a lady brought a pair of shoes in and set them on the counter that morning. I put the tag on them, but putting them back on the workbench and let them sit there. They broke in that night sometime. Took the tag down on the floor and taken the shoes. I had to pay them for them.
I heard that that there was that the reason Front Royal was having a problem with rodents is that there is a tunnel leading from Avtex over to Main Street under the ground. Is that true? No.
Honey's the only tunnel I know.
It was a
I
wild story.
raved Cain about it, but it was too late. Donaldson's house sat over here on the hill during the Civil War. I've been in the house. He was a farmer, raised cattle and sheep. He had 2 sons and a daughter. His one son was Internal Revenue at the courthouse for years. Had this big farm back over here where the town dumped all this stuff. I've been up there. Go in the house, front door, go through there, out to the kitchen. Open up the closet door, you go down the steps, come out down next to the river, between rocks.
Wow.
Out went to town. It was a history house. But the foreman of the town, when the last time me and my son was up there, we got Christmas trees upside the house on the hill back up there. Because I always asked him, could I go over and get a Christmas tree? And he was nice. He said, please don't ask me no more. If you want a tree, go get it. Just keep the gate shut. Well, he knew I'd done that. The fellow worked for the town didn't want to fix a roof on the house before the wind blowed it up. I was up there and looked at it. I said, there's 2 or 3 courses of tin blowed loose up there. Just my opinion, fellow worked on a tin roof. I said could fix it in 2 or 3 hours himself. But he let it sit that way. He kept blowing. Blowed that up, and the house went to pieces. I had a lot of people who used to go over and look at that place.
Now, which house is it? The one?
I got a picture here someplace.
Is it the one that had the tree struck by lightning in front of it, and now it's for sale and they're clearing the lot? No, not that house.
It's tore down, you don't show no.
And the tunnel is still there?
Not now. The town put all this landfill in and filled it up.
Oh.
It runted. It got rocks that rolled down in there.
Oh. Was the tunnel used to hide slaves? Was part of the slave?
During the Civil War.
Yeah. To hide troops?
You could, yeah, hide, come in and go out.
Oh.
Who would know it? Out in the bush or in the woods, like you come down here and go down a step, and you come out down next to the river.
What street was the house on? Do you remember where it was?
What's up here where the landfill is? See, I don't think street got a name on it. It could be. It should be, because that street goes straight on down. Have to be that. Manassas Avenue. It got to be that, because it runs on down to the railroad track, goes over that, and go across the bridge and go up the hill to the landfill, so it have to be, I'd call it Manassas.
That was a pretty long tunnel.
Huh?
Pretty long tunnel.
Oh, yeah.
Who dug it? I wonder.
Nobody know. See, it's back, way back there.
Wow.
Come out between them rocks. 2 men go out on Sundays scouting around, say. One fellow was big and fat, and the other fellow was whole that skin and eye out. And they'd been in there, the skinny man been in there a good many times. And this fat man, he'd been in there once or twice. And so on Sundays, they used to have a place over there, shoot 22s practice. And don't laugh now when I tell this. They went in this cave from outside and went on back up there to the steps. And this fat fella always like to pull jokes on people anyway. And he said, I got to crack my leg. He said, I don't feel like going up steps. He said, just turn around and go back. And a fella lived out over here with him. He was tall, skinny. I say he's 6 foot something. He's behind him, coming out. This Well, he was big and fat. He got up between the rocks and he said, Phil, he said, I can't get out. He said, these rocks give how we pass. He said, look here, I can shake it. I can't get myself out. Phil reached in his pocket, pulled this great big pocket knife out and went up to him. Boy, he had that all come out. That's the truth.
Are you getting tired? Do you need a break? What kind of philosophy do you have? What has affected your life? What kind of views do you hold that you would like to share with the future about a good way of thinking of life? Do you have any mottos or creeds or philosophy that you'd like to share?
Well, I tell you this, honey, I don't know how you're going to like it or not. I thank the Lord every night in the morning for my health when I get out of bed and I watch acting there. And I enjoy seeing the trees, the green stuff, because I'm tired of seeing wintertime. When I was real small, I liked wintertime, but years past when I got up, I like summertime. Now, he's on the porch out there. He blew his top. He can't stand heat. Give him cold weather. He said, I can put on enough clothes to keep warm. But summertime, he said, I can't fight those gnats and bugs. I enjoy looking at what I can see here on this mountain. Now, before the trees got so big up there, this used to be my bedroom over here. Me and the wife had this over here. See, I tore the partition out and made it all one. And after my daughter got married, we had just 5 kids, 6 kids here, no place. And after they left, I said, well, she always fussing about the room small. Of course, it was small. I said, well, I get a carpenter over here and knock the wall out. We just lay on the bed and look out that window and watch the cars come off of Skyline Drive, come down the hill by the headlights on the cars come down to, you can see it just like that.
Do you have anything else that you would like to add?
I don't know, honey. You caught me off balance today. I just can't think. But you ought to get some information out of that books.
The Sesquicentennial.
Huh?
The Sesquicentennial.
Yes, this year.
I spoke with the man, Jim Morgan, who helped write that.
I don't know who helped write that.
Yeah, one of the Avtex people did. With some other people.
I don't know. It's got a bunch of it here on here, but it's got what I like about it. Here's the Avtex plant right there.
Yeah, we'll have to put that. We'll have to use the Sesquicentennial book and put some of those pictures on tape.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have one of those. I think that's a good idea. We'll put some of the pictures on tape. Well, I'm gonna turn it off. If you want me to come back, if you have a better day in the future, I can return.
No, I don't
If you
know.
think of something that you would like to add.
You got this here where the shoe shop started, didn't you? I know that. Because
Yes.
you got that. That's as far as I can go, I guess, on it. You hit me some days I can't think at all.
Whenever you're ready, sir.
My name is Paul Oldt. I started working at Avtex June 21st, 1944. This June will be 57 years I've been there. I worked in the converting department all the time I was there, which comprised of slashing, warping, twisting, dip, and I guess that's all. I worked on time card work for, I guess, about 30 years or something like that. Now, relief foreman and day foreman. When the plant went down, I was day foreman. converting department, warping department.
Day foreman in the, which department? County?
Converting.
Converting?
Converting department, yes. It comprised of warping, slashing, twisting, adhesive dip, up twist. I guess that was all.
Could you outline what the different departments, what role they play in the process?
Well, the department we was in, we twisted the yarn and put the finish on it, the adhesive dip finish on it, and that was in the dip and twisting department. In the slashing department, we run our yarn on beams. We made during the war, we made tar cord out of it and parachute cord. And in later years, why polyester took over the tars, and that's part of the reason that department went down. It shut down in June of 1981. We went to the same department. We did just different sections is what it was. And then when the plant went down, I was off for about 2 months. Then I went back as security. I've worked security now for about 10 years, I guess.
Well, when polyester took over, which departments at that time were eliminated?
When polyester took over, well, the slashing department was the only one really eliminated. But that wasn't due to polyester. That was due to the market for the rayon yarn.
And what did they do in slashing? They cut it to the lengths?
They ran the yarn off of cones through a size bath over the dryer drums and ran it on its big beams, looked like spools, and shipped it out on big spools. There's anywhere from 152 to 176 individual threads on each machine, each beam rather, and there's 5 beams on the machine. And each end had a certain place to go the whole way from the back of the machine clear up to the front door and on the beam. And that's what she did. She worked on that. If the end would break, you'd have to relace it, tie it together.
Approximately how long did you spend? Could you go back over the different departments or the different areas and what the work was like, and maybe how long you spent in one department before moving to another?
I hung cones in slashing department for probably from 1944 until I went over twisting about 1978.
Oh,
Yeah, I went over there before slashing went down. Went over to the twisting department as a charge hand, and then I put me on as foreman, and I worked daylight foreman in slashing then until it went down in 1980. And then I went back twisting for a while, and then I went on as relief foreman, relief shift foreman, then went on as shift foreman, then went on as day foreman, then I was on day supervisor over the warping department when it closed down.
so all the supervisory positions were in the warping department?
No, I was in slashing, twisting, and warping. There at one time towards the, I guess about a year before that, I was day foreman over the twisting, warping, slashing, dip. No slashing was going when after slashing went down. Day foreman over twisting, dip, warping, and up twist.
Wow, you moved around a lot at the end.
I had 4 different offices. I had to go from one office each day, and so I set up the schedule for the people what to do, according to what orders we had.
And did you do all 4 jobs at the same time?
Same day, yes.
So you just moved from one job to the next?
One office to the next.
Wow, so were they cutting back on people at that time?
Well, they did eventually, yeah, but at the time it wouldn't cut back too much. But
You were busy.
I was stayed busy all day long. That's right. Sometimes I always had to go in on just about every weekend. I had to go in. But let's say I'd set up the orders for the people to run, and if they'd run out of orders or something, I'd have to go in and set up an order. Usually I tried to set up enough where I wouldn't have to go in on the weekends, but it didn't always work out like that. Sometimes they'd run out of the yarn and needed to make a certain order, and I'd have to change it to another. And that yarn was used in tar cord and fan belts, water hose, hose on your car, airplane cables. There's a lot of different things.
And the yarn produced by Avtex went to a manufacturer who made those items?
They made those items, yes. And the main thing towards the end was the carbonizing yarn, which went in the space program. We would run it, and they would take it and make cloth out of it, and then they would heat it real to, I forget what temperature they'd heat it to, and it wouldn't burn. They used it on the heat shields on the things come in from space. When they come back in from space, it would flake off, but it wouldn't burn. And they also used it in airplane seats and nozzles on the rockets, because it wouldn't burn. I mean, if you get hot, it would just flake off. It wouldn't burn.
Was it because it was like pre-burned already?
It was already pre-burned. They would heat it real hot. I don't forget what the temperature was in the ovens. They'd heat it real hot, and it was white, but it would turn black then. But it would still, hold together. It was strong. I've got a sample of the yarn that we made out there before they burned it. If you want to see that later on, I'll show it to you.
Okay.
And I met my wife there. First time I saw her, she was fixing to break on the machine. I was on the same machine hanging cones, and she come back through there whistling. And I tell everybody this, and it was the truth. I said, that's the woman I'm going to marry, and I did. But nobody believes me, I don't think, but I really did that. So we got married. We were married, 53 years? 54 years, something like that.
54 years.
54 years. We've had a real good life.
Do you want to talk a little bit about your time at Avtex?
Well, when you did.
I went to work in January of '43, and I ran these machines he's talking about, and I fixed the brakes and tied the cones in, and then I went off of that and went and inspected the beams so the beams would be right.
They had these cones that come from the coning room, and tie them in hang them on a creel and tie them in. You tie the start of one to they all had a tail on them, and you tie the tail of the one to the cone right opposite, and it would just keep on running. When that cone would run out of yarn, it would transfer over to the other one.
Okay.
And the only time the machine would stop if one of the ends would break.
Did that happen very often?
Well, it depends what kind of yarn. You tell us about that. You did all that.
Yeah, it happened quite often. If we ran a good yarn, it didn't happen as often. But they called, what did they call that?
Reject yarn.
Reject yarn. And it broke real often. It kept us busy fixing brakes.
Others have said that when they first began to work, the first thing they learned was how to tie knots.
Yeah. We spent our whole day back there. Someone teach us how to tie knots. That's the first thing we done. And then they taught us to run the machine, and they had all boys on the machine then. So us girls went in and wore, and the boys taught us how to run the machines. And they'd put us on the machine. Then they'd go to the locker room and play poker or something, and we'd have to run the machines.
Was it scary?
Yes, it was. Because you didn't really know what you were.
The machine was about as long as from here up to the road, main road.
Wow, how long would that be?
I don't know how many feet.
Half
it
a
would be.
mile?
No, maybe an eighth of a mile or something like that, I guess. You hang the yarn on the creel in the back, and then you come through the sides, passing over the drive drums, and then up on the beams. There's about 4 different parts of the machine. It was all connected.
And which part were you on the big machine? The whole thing?
The whole thing.
So you had to keep an eye on, could you talk about what was that like to work on the machine?
Well, we would tie the creel in. That was where we tied the knots. And then we'd fix them. And then we would creel back there. till we had a break, then we'd have to go up and fix the brake. And we'd take it all the way and put it in the size, they call that was the stuff they, and we'd tie it in there, and then we'd take it all the way up on the beam. So it was a little scary if you didn't know what you was doing.
And did you stay in the same department the whole time?
In the same department, I went in different rooms, but I was in the same department. I went to warping in after the slashing went down.
So slashing and warping, were there any other areas that you were in?
That was all.
That's all you worked on.
How long were you in slashing before you moved to warping?
Well, I was in warping for a while. I was in slashing for a while, and then I went to warping for a while, and then come back to slashing. I expect I was in.
You was in, I would say you're probably in slashing from 1943 until 1980. Maybe a year out of that time she might have gone to warping.
So slashing almost all the time.
Yeah.
And so after you all met, you kept working together? Did you?
That's one good thing about it. We stayed on the same shift most of the time until I went on as foreman, and then we worked different shifts for a while then.
That was kind of neat, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it was good. We worked together all the time. I mean, it was really good. But, she retired in 1986, didn't you?
Could you talk a little bit about when you and your husband first met at Avtex?
She didn't notice me when we first met. I noticed her, but she didn't notice me.
I didn't even know him. I just thought it was one of the boys. We called them all boys, which they were. And I didn't know that. I didn't know he had decided he was going to marry me.
Well, my wife's older than I am. She's 7 years older than I am. But that doesn't make any difference. People said it wouldn't work, but it worked pretty good.
So then we started dating, and we're still here.
How long have you been married now?
53 years. It'll be 54 July.
Oh, you love those stories. How long did it take you to get her to go out with you after you decided you were going to marry her?
Well, about 6 months, I guess. At least 6 months, wasn't it?
Yeah.
She didn't even notice me. Because I was younger than her too. I guess that made a difference, but I finally got over that hurdle.
All right, I won't pry anymore. Your personal life. Now, when you left in '86, were you retiring?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, so you left before the plant closed. And you were still there at the time.
I worked 1 week after the plant closed to get the carbonizing yarn for the space program out. We had that in the pipeline, and we had to get all that out before I worked. I guess I probably had about 12, 15 people working at the time to get all that yarn out. And that yarn, it was really strict with that yarn. It was made in double deck, and each spindle in double deck was numbered. And we took the cone off in double deck, we put it on a truck, which had a number on it. When it came up to be twisted, it went on a twister, it had a number on it. And when they packed it, they had to write down the spindle it come from. That way, if we got any bad yarn from the customer, we could trace it right back to the double deck when the machine was on, where it was run at. And that was really...
And the carbonized yarn, that was the last thing made?
That was the last thing made, yep. Yeah, when we had orders for yarn for fan belts and hose and all that. I had stack orders about that high, but we didn't have the money to, I guess, keep it going. The state shut us down, so. But it wasn't really the state. It was the state too, but still, the plant didn't have any money to keep operating, kind of a thing.
I heard from a journalist that something about, did John Gregg take any of the money from the pensions?
I don't go along with that now. He did us good. He kept the plant running for 13 years. See, American Visco had it. They sold it to FMC. And FMC just run it for, I guess, about 12, 13 years, wasn't it, to get out of what they could. They wouldn't fix anything except, of course, I work for FMC now. I better shut up, I guess. But But there's different outfit.
It was breakdown maintenance rather than a maintenance schedule. I heard
Right.
that.
Yeah, that's right. It's breakdown. It fix it and break down while I keep on running. But he had stuff that for a man in his position would want to have, but still he kept us a job for 13 years, so I can't say anything against him.
So no one heard of any wrongdoing by him?
Well, there's rumors about it.
There's rumors, yeah, but he had cancer of the brain.
But I don't. I can't say a word against him because he kept us a job for 13 years. So
There's another rumor that I heard too. I hope you don't mind me asking.
No,
I
go
heard
ahead.
these rumors and I just heard them a couple weeks ago. I also heard that there was some tunnel that ran from the plant under Kendrick Lane and then one down to Main Street, and that's why the skunks are going there.
that's a
and
bunch
the
of bull.
rats.
That's a bunch of bull. There was one hole in the stable department they couldn't get filled up, but where it went nobody knew because they never did get down in there. They poured dirt in there and concrete and whatever, tried to fill it up, and they never did get it filled up. But it's not there now, so that department's torn down now. But there's no hole there now, so it couldn't have been too bad. But where'd you hear that from? That's the first I heard that.
A journalist, and I'm like, okay. So I've asked a couple people now. Nothing. I can't find
Journalists
it.
from Front Royal or from away from
From
here?
somebody who lives in Warren County.
That's a bunch of bull.
There's misinformation out there, I would think.
A lot.
Well, no, if they had something like that, they'd probably develop a caverns like Skyline Caverns or something.
Okay.
You could hear anything.
Yeah, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of emotional feelings still about the plant. I don't know, could you, both of you talk about what your thoughts and feelings were when it closed and maybe some of the things that you've heard or any complaints or...
I've heard everything.
Well, a lot of people blamed it on Mary Sue Terry, which I think she had a lot to do with it. She was Attorney General, I guess, wasn't she?
Yeah.
And she was wanting to run for governor. Of course, when she ran for governor, she didn't make it, partly in account of what she did at the plant. But I don't think the plant would have kept running anyway because they didn't have the money. You have to have money to run a big plant like that. And I heard that, well, I don't know whether it's true or not, but somebody tried to buy the plant, but they wanted controlling interest, and John Gregg wouldn't give up controlling interest, so they didn't buy it. So I don't know whether that's even true or not now, but there's a lot of rumors going around then.
A lot.
But
I don't know if you want to get into what maybe some of the rumors were. I think people that worked there actually probably knew more about the plant than the outsiders, the residents, and some of the area people who have these misconceptions about the plant. I don't know. Do you want to get into any of that or move on to something else?
I can't say anything against the plant because, like I say, it kept me a job. Well, it's still keeping me a job for 57 years. So I mean, what do I got to complain about?
At the time, right before it closed, and you were doing 4 different jobs, were there a lot less people there then?
Well, it kept cutting down. Yes, kept getting less every couple months. It cut back. Finally, when it closed down, I just had one department. That's all I had. And that was the carbonizing yarn.
Do you remember any numbers of employees or anything?
Oh, well.
We had over 2,000, didn't we?
Yeah. During the war, there was over 3,000 worked there when I first went to work there, but kept cutting down. And when the slashing department, I shut down the box shop, cake wrap, cake wash, and coning and slashing. I would say it would probably displace about 700 or 800 people then. But then the twisting picked up some of those people, picked up right many of them. And it run for pretty good for a while. And then it finally cut down, kept cutting down. And I didn't work in the staple department, but it was one of the big money makers for the plant. And it finally kept cutting down. So finally, one time there towards the end, there was 400 people working in the plant is all. And then the staple cut down, and it cut down to just people in double deck and twisting. I guess it's probably maybe 300 people, something like that, working in. I can't say exactly how many, but maybe not even close. But I know it cut way down.
So you were one of the first. You had more seniority, which is why you were able to stay.
Well,
as long.
I was on salary. I was foreman. That's the reason I got to stay.
Do you want to talk about what you thought when they closed down the plant?
I was sick.
You wasn't working then, though.
I wasn't working, but it was sad.
How did you feel when they closed it?
Oh,
Like,
I hated to be out of a job because I mean, we're working all those years. I had 44, 45 years in when it closed down. And of course, I didn't know what I was going to do. I mean, I wasn't quite old enough to retire. And I didn't want to get out in the country and work. I didn't want to do that. So I kept going around looking for jobs. And finally, I heard that it's going to hire some more guards out to plant. And I went out there to get a job, and the guy who said the guards then told me, he said, no, he said, we can't hire you. He said, you're overqualified. So I gave him my resume. He said, you're overqualified. I said, well, I still like to have a job. I mean, I need a job. He said, no. He said, you're overqualified for this job. So I come on home. By the time I got home, there was a guard there, Joe Rhodes. He was working for Rack Security, I believe. And yeah, he had talked to this guy that was there was two different security companies there, Rack Security and Blue Ridge. And he talked to the guy who was headed Blue Ridge. And the time I got home, he talked that guy into hiring me. So I went back and they hired me. And I've been here ever since. But,
is Rack and Blue Ridge still running the
no,
guards?
Rack and Blue Ridge is not out now. Well, first we went to Blue Ridge. And then Blue Ridge went out and Avtex bankruptcy court took over security. And we must have worked for them for probably 2 years, I guess. And then they run out of money to keep the security, so they contracted it out to see it was Halifax Security, and they had it for about a couple of years. And then we went to they changed. It was the same company, but they changed names to International, Intersect, Argon Bright. I think that was it. And then it was a minority contract, so they had to give it to a minority company. So the company we were working for at that time was a minority company because it was a government contract, SecTech. But now they're not a minority anymore, and it's not a government contract now, so they don't have to. And we've been working for SecTech now since 95 and 96, I guess.
Wow, they changed a lot. I know that when they did the remediation, FMC was the only company still in business. Were people kind of afraid to touch the property for a while or something?
Well, I don't really know, man.
Okay, maybe that wasn't a good question.
Yeah.
Could you talk just a little bit about your thoughts and feelings about having Avtex be here, having it come here, what you think it did for the community, for your way of life?
It made Front Royal. We moved here from Pennsylvania in 1941. My dad worked at the plant up there, and it transferred him down here to a job down here at this plant. So I was 14 years old then, I guess. And then I went to work at the plant when I was 16. But, you know where the street where the Legion is, 8th Street? We lived on 8th Street first, and that was a dirt road. It wasn't even paved. And they're just building new bridges, but we come across the old bridges. I don't know if anybody ever told you about these old bridges or not. You go right down by the VFW. You know where the VFW is, where that underpass is? Mm-hmm. Oh, you had to go through there. That's where the road went, to Winchester.
Wow.
And we come through there, and they had furniture on the truck, and they had to take some of the furniture off the truck because it was too high to get underneath that underpass. But,
Well, it was just
it wasn't out there.
not anything before Avtex came.
The only thing down there on Royal Avenue, I guess, was Ford Place and that where the Knotted Pine is now. That was a dairy. Claire had a dairy there, and he come from Pennsylvania too. He come from Lewistown. We come from Lewistown, and well, there's other places there, but a couple houses and stuff. There wasn't no 7-Elevens or no liquor store, or where the liquor store used to be. No gas stations. There might have been a Texaco station. May have been there then. Well, was it not?
Were you here in Front Royal?
No, I'm from West Virginia.
I didn't ask you. Do you mind saying your name?
Ivy Oldt.
Ivy.
Oldt.
Oldt.
Yes.
And what was your maiden name?
My name was Carpenter.
Carpenter?
Uh-huh.
So you were from West Virginia and you were from Pennsylvania. And, I guess, did a lot of people from West Virginia come to the Avtex plant?
Yeah, but not as many as there was from Pennsylvania.
From Lewistown?
Yeah.
Meadville, Lewistown.
Meadville, Lewistown. You know Mindy Shriver, don't you?
Yes.
She came from Meadville.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I have to call her. What comes to your mind when you think of Avtex? Could you talk a little bit more about Avtex? What you think about it? What you got from it?
Got what we have.
I raised 3 children on it.
Did you feel lucky to be there? Did you
Yes,
enjoy the work?
At the time, you made more money there than you could anywhere else around Front Royal. It was a good paying job time. Of course, when I started to work there, started out at 72 cents an hour.
In
But
43.
that was good then.
44, yeah. What did you start at? You started at less than that, didn't you?
Yeah, I forget how much I started out at. 78, I think.
78? Well, 72.
I don't know what I made it after a
Well,
long time ago.
it was only about a year's difference, so it probably might have been the same. But
What were most people making at the time?
We had an electrician out there. I remember. I knew him well. He was making 35 cents an hour out there.
that's when you started. That's what I say. You was making probably about 30 cents an hour or something when you
I
first
think, of
started.
course, he's dead now.
So,
But you mean people around Front Royal here? I don't really know. They weren't making much. I mean,
but I was just wondering if was it like a third more than a normal salary?
I would say
half more.
at the time, when Avtex first started, I would say it was, but everybody went there and did a job.
I'd say it was a half more.
Well, it might even been a half. But Front Royal didn't have. They had the pin factory over there, and they had Stossel's mallet factory, made these wooden hammers. I worked there for about 2 or 3 months before I went to the plant. And the state made me quit because I was too young to work around machinery. I was only 15 then. So I left there and I was making 15 cents an hour there. And I went to work for the plant making 72, so that was a big jump for me.
That was.
All in probably, about 2 months' time. The regular workers there was making 20 cents an hour. And I was making 15 because I was just a kid.
That was a big salary then. Is there anything that you could add about Avtex before we talk about other stuff?
I'm just thankful it was here, that's all. But like I say, we made our living there for many years, still making our living there, partially.
What would you tell someone who maybe in 5 or 6 years when school kids start coming to see the tape at the museum, and maybe 20 years from now, there probably won't be too many people who worked in a viscose factory around to talk about it.
That's right.
Is there anything that you could say about your life and times or the work that you did that you would like to share with the future?
Well, it was a good life and good job. It wasn't hard work. It was inside all the time. You wasn't out in the weather. Of course, it got hot in the summertime. In the wintertime, it was nice and warm. It was good working conditions until towards the last several years that when it's good down because of the roof leak and they didn't have the money to fix the roof. We put barrels around, put plastic up the ceiling for the water to run in and run in the barrels. But it was still a good place to work. I mean, you don't find many places now where people go to work and working on a job for that length of time.
So the plant was kind of falling apart then, I guess.
It was, yes, yeah.
Oh.
It was falling apart, no question about it.
Do you have a certain philosophy that you live by, like positive thinking or belief in God that's helped you, that you feel like sharing?
Let people live the way they want to. I live the way I want to, and let the people live the way they want to. I don't care what they do as long as it doesn't bother me, as long as it doesn't affect me. Right?
Right?
Does anything come to your mind about the 50s or the 40s, that maybe life is the same as it is these days in 2001 or different? How has life changed or
Oh,
stayed?
it's different. You didn't have all the drugs and of course you had alcohol, but it wasn't like it is now. You didn't have all the drugs and all the robberies and murders and stuff. Of course, we don't have that much around here, but we have the drugs around here, no question about that.
And we had a daughter that had polio in 1940. She was in
1940.
Huh?
Not 1940.
1950, what the fuck is it?
About 59,
Nine.
I believe it was, yeah.
Is she okay now?
No,
she's crippled.
she's crippled and has a curvature spine. But she worked 28 years at a rehab center.
Fishersville, Woodrow Wilson Rehabilitation Center.
Oh, so did she
And
go through Warren County schools?
Yes. She didn't finish Warren County School, but she went for a while, and then she went up to Fishersville. But she has one arm that's affected and one hand, so she has to take her one arm and lift her hand up, and she can use the one hand, but she can't. She can use one arm and one hand, so she coordinates them together.
Oh.
Yeah.
But she worked for 28 years like that.
Oh. Does she live by herself? Is she
She
still?
got married.
She's married.
She is? Good. Wow. Let's see. What would you like to see at the Avtex site in the future? How do you envision Front Royal and Avtex? How do you envision the future of the site?
Well, if they do what they say they're going to do, build a park on the other side of the railroad tracks, along the river, and build office buildings and hotels or whatever they're going to build on the other side, I think that'd be a good thing. It'd be a real good thing. I'd like to see them do something with it, rather than just letting it lay there, not do anything.
I don't think they'll ever do it.
Because it's going to be a while before they. Well, they'll do it eventually. They're working on the admin building now.
It feels like it's a long way off.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's going to be a
Still.
long ways off. Yeah. Because the man's head of FMC now. He's out there and he's bought a house here in Front Royal, so he's planning on staying for a while.
Oh, who is that?
Doug Beeman.
Oh, he bought a house in Front Royal? Oh, good. Well, yeah, he'll probably be here for a few years then.
He probably will. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to add anything, either of you?
Well, there's more to it than what people think. To clean it up, because there's a lot of those basins down there. They're cleaning them out now. But man, it's stinking stuff in there. Go around there every day, and it really smells bad. But you can't just turn something loose like that and let people go in there, because it'd be like, what's that place up in New York, that toxic waste place where they built houses on it and people got sick and all. But I don't think it would have really affected them that much out here, but I wouldn't want people to go in there and before it's cleaned up.
Do you think the townspeople were much affected by Avtex?
Oh, sure.
Yes, ma'am.
That's the one thing I didn't like about the county. They didn't try to keep the plant open.
And we had a lot of town people against the Avtex.
Yeah, the community seems to be divided. They either really like it or they
They
don't like
really
it, yeah.
hate it.
Right. Well, I'll tell you, it had that odor in the summertime. A lot of people hate it, because Front Royal's more of a tourist town, I guess, than what it is now anyway. And tourists come here and smell that stuff. Well, they wouldn't come back probably. I guess I don't blame them, but
There's a lot of places going out of business since the Avtex went down, though.
yeah. Used to buy all my clothes down to Oral Quality Shop. They went out of business after Avtex shut down. A few years after Avtex shut down. Well, it wasn't too long after Avtex shut down. And where she bought her clothes, it was Frank's. That was still at Silex, owned both of them. And there was another woman's store. What was that?
Roses.
Roses. And it was a Piedmont store. It was a clothing store. It went out of business. And I guess the really only one that survived down there is the Boston store. That was running when the plant, when we came here, it was open. But
Well, let's see, before I turn it off, I don't want to turn it off if you want to share anything else at all.
I just want to say that Avtex is a good place to work, and it really made Front Royal and got us a little bit we have, and I was proud to work there.
Ivy, do you want to?
And I was too. I was glad to get out of there. But I was glad to have a job there. It helped us raise our family.
I'm happy to have a job too with
Uh-huh.
FMC. Thank you, God. Well, okay. Talk a little bit about this.
Yes, this is me training girls on a machine. And I can't see where I am.
You're back to the desk.
But I'm at the desk. And these are the girls I was training.
Georgiana Pulaski. Who was the other one?
And
Mason
Myers. And I can't think of the other one's name. But I train girls on the machine. Sometimes I'd have as many as 10 or 12 on the machine.
Wow.
This is her when she was working there.
Do you mind holding this one up too? Thank you. Oh.
This is me. I was 23 years old.
And how old were you when Paul met you?
Oh, about
24.
about 24. And I was showing them how to make a split on a machine. Well, after I went there, not too long after I went there, and I caught my hand on the machine in one of those big rollers. And
Is it okay now? Was it really injured badly at the time?
well, at the time it was very bad, but it didn't hurt too.
Got scars on it,
It
didn't you?
wasn't too bad. It didn't.
You have scars on your fingers, don't you?
Oh yeah, I got scars on my fingers.
It's her. When she retired.
Oh. Do you want me to put that on the tape
I
too?
don't make a difference. I just thought I'd show it to you.
Do you have your retirement one
No, I
too?
haven't got one yet.
Oh, that's right. You haven't retired yet. Well, thank you, both of you.
That was the last run of the carbonizing yarn.
Oh, wow. The last run. Just scoop those too. Oh, my goodness. Wow. I bet everybody was depressed that it was the last one.
Oh, they were, yes. See, they told us that the plant would shut down at 5:15. If it was going to didn't shut down at 5:15, it would keep on running. But at 5:15, they cut the power off, and that was it. Everything got dark, and they switched over to town power right away, so there'd be lights in there.
So you ran the last ones off of town power?
No, it was already finished. No, I guess we did run some off of town power. I guess so. It's been so long ago, yeah. Yeah, I think we did run some off of town power for a while.
You kept operating for another week just to finish that because the government had to get that, I guess.
Yeah, well, the machine, they doubled it. They quit spinning, but the yarn was in the pipeline, had to be twisted and packed and everything. So it wasn't made, it was already made, but we had to process it.
Wow. Let's get another close-up and I'll cut it off. That's neat. It looks luminescent almost.
It's shiny, isn't it?
It is.